Take our spring and piston, push it down inside. Then you always want to do this last bit upside down, because if you turn this over, your spring might fall out. So we'll take the bottom half, turn it upside down, screw it back on until it seals up. Take our regulator, screw it onto the gun. Now this part here, this is supposed to rotate freely, so don't worry about that not being tight. And that's basic maintenance on your regulator right there. Now we'll move over here to our ASA. This one's pretty simple. All you really need to do for this is unscrew the cap right here, pop it off. Take a Allen key. You're going to push on the core from the front side here and pop it out the back. So we're going to take our key, push on the core, put our hand over it so it doesn't shoot out anywhere, and there's your core right there. Basically, check the O-rings right here, make sure they're okay. If you have any leaking or any kind of problems right there, these are the O-rings that are going to be the culprit. So again, clean them off, inspect them with your fingers, make sure there's no cuts or cracks or scratches. A little bit of gun oil. On there, and then go ahead and we're just going to push it back in through here. Get it in there. Push it in all the way to the bottom and screw our cap on. There is one O-ring right here on the cap. I want to also check that one, make sure it's okay. Feel for scratches, feel for cuts, and then go ahead and put our cap back on. That's that. Next we'll go for our rammer, which is inside here. Need to take our 3/16 wrench, put it into the back of the ram cap, and we're going to unscrew it. Pull the cap off, set it down. From here, we need to remove the bolt. The bolt pin, this part right here, does attach into the rammer and move back and forth. So if our bolt is attached to the ram, we cannot get the rammer out. So we're going to remove the bolt, pulling up on it, pull it out, and then we're going to try to get it out by hand. If you just kind of shake the gun down, it's going to hopefully pop the ram out. If the ram doesn't pop out, what you can do is look inside the gun here, take an Allen key, and actually push the ram backwards, and it should pop out the back of the gun right here. Again, what we're going to do is we're going to clean and inspect all the O-rings. Make sure to get all the grease off of them. Feel them to make sure they're okay. Visually inspect them to make sure they're okay. Light gun oil. On there. Smear it around. Again, you don't need a ton of this stuff. Just a good light coating is all you need. Alright, from there, take the ram, push it back in, take your cap, Allen key, snug that up. Don't need to over tighten it, just snug it up, you should be good. While we got our bolt out, we'll go over bolt maintenance. Basically this is the simplest one ever. Pull it out of the gun, wipe it down, make sure there's no paint in it, debris, and put it back. That's all you need to do with it. Don't need to oil it, don't need to do anything. Clean it, put it back in the gun. Alright, so from there we will move on to our last item, which is our LPR, our low pressure regulator. First thing we want to do is unscrew the cap. And pull that off of there. Now you've got a piston or an O-ring that's inside here. Kind of the same as our large regulator. You want to make sure that we're going to wipe off all the grease off of there, re-oil that on the inside. Then we're going to need to take this out in here. Now this can be a problem also getting out. So sometimes you need to grab it with your fingers and get it out. You might need to get a pair of needle nose pliers, but you want to make sure that you do not damage it in any way. If you mark this up, it's not going to seal up. You're going to have problems with creeping. Your LPR isn't going to regulate properly. So I've pulled out the first spring. This is the piston spring here. Pull out the piston. As you can see, there's another spring on the backside here. This spring actually isn't attached to it. It does sit on a little groove inside there, and because there's so much lube on here, it kind of just sticking to it. Okay, that probably won't happen all the time. And then down at the back you have your adjustment cap right here. If your LPR was set before, there's no need to ever readjust it because you're not moving this screw. So you're not adjusting the LPR in any way. You just leave it as it is so that when you reassemble it, it should be back just the way you had it. So we're going to set this to the side. Set this to the side. We're going to clean the bottom of the piston right here. Again, visually inspect and check by feeling it, rotating it in your fingers for any cuts or nicks. Take some of our grease. Cover that up good. And then if we want to do the same kind of trick that we had before, a little bit of the grease on the bottom there. Take our spring. That's going to stick it on there so that it doesn't fall off. Okay. So we take this, push that back down into our assembly, into our LPR cap right there. Next, take our spring, put it back around the piston inside there, and then like on our inline regulator, we want to clean this up right here. Take a Q-tip and clean off that O-ring that's inside there. Again, it sits inside there in a little groove. It's kind of hard to see, but it is right on the inside lip of the cap right here. Clean that off. Take our Q-tip, put a little oil on it, and then lightly oil the inside here. Take our LPR cap assembly that's all back together. And again, don't turn this upside down because you don't want this spring to fall out from the inside there. You want to leave that spring in there. So you do it from the side or do it upside down. Just don't turn it upside down. Put that on. You kind of have to push on it a little bit and screw at the same time. And snug that up. From here, we would take our hosing. Got it upside down. Connect it back to our fittings. From there. From here. Reassemble our barrel onto the gun. Then you want to look over the gun. Since you've been holding onto it and touching it and everything, and you've probably got grease all over your hands. You probably want to take your shop towel, clean up any grease that you've got left all over the gun from touching it. And you're ready to go out and start playing. Again, this is just basic normal maintenance for the E-tek 2. We've had some requests for it. You can buy this product and all these lubes at ansgear.com. Check it out.